Hey, it's Josh McEwen here with episode 10 of Dufferin Spotlight on Business, where we bring your community to you by letting you know what's in the area while highlighting the advantages of shopping local. I'm excited for everyone to listen to this one, as Rob and I are joined by Paul Hinsberger, the owner of Let Me Out Escape Room, which is located 10 minutes outside of Orangeville on Highway 10 in Camilla. For those of you who do not know what an escape room is, it's an experience where you and some friends must use your skills, typically cognitive, to work together to escape a room. Let Me Out is unique in that it is based in a 150-year-old barn, and the escape room experience is tailored to that theme, something our community can definitely appreciate. What's great about Let Me Out is that it allows for competition between you and your friends, making the experience even more enjoyable. In addition to this, Paul has devised several difficulty levels, so whether you'd like to go back for a more difficult attempt, or you feel like you're Dufferin's top escape artist, you'll definitely be challenged. They even have an experience that takes place during the night, so be sure to listen in to hear more about that. I was very surprised to learn that we had an escape room in our community, and when I met Paul, I was extremely impressed with what he had done. I'm glad that Paul gave us the opportunity to tell you about Let Me Out, and we are grateful for his help with the show. Let Me Out is open April through October to ensure an authentic and enjoyable experience, and it operates by appointment to allow for you and your group to have the place to yourself. Be sure to follow their Facebook page to stay up to date on news, or check out their website, letmeout.ca. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy this episode of Dufferin Spotlight on Business. So it's Josh McEwen here with Dufferin Spotlight on Business, and as per usual, I'm joined by Rob Bailey.
Hey everybody, hope you're doing good today. Today we're lucky enough to have Paul Hinsberger here from Let Me Out Escape Rooms, located in Camilla, roughly 10 minutes north of Orangeville off of Highway 10. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you.
Awesome. So would you mind giving us just a brief background about yourself?
Well, I actually grew up in Mono, just down Mono Center Road, and then I went away for university.
Nice.
And then I moved back in 1998, bought a farm up in Camilla, and we did a little bit of the farming there with horses and alpacas and llamas and that kind of stuff. And then eventually that got to be a bit of work, so we got rid of the animals, and I've been there for about 20 years now, I guess.
Awesome.
Yeah, so you've been in the area for quite some time, then you've seen a lot change.
I have. I've really seen Orangeville grow quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, I imagine. Awesome. So, I mean, lots of people maybe have heard of an escape room before, but can you just describe what one might be for those that don't know?
Sure. So an escape room is an entertainment venue.
Yeah.
So you and a group of your family or friends would come out, and basically you get locked into a room of some sort. And there's puzzles and clues and that type of stuff in the room, and you have to use some deduction and just physical and mental abilities in order to figure out how to get out of the room. There's often usually some sort of narrative theme that goes along with the room and the premise of why that you're locked in there.
Yeah.
Seems like a pretty good thing for the family to do, other than, playing on their phones or electronics, or actually get to think about something, some problem solving. And
Oh, absolutely. We've had quite a few families come out. And of course, you see a lot of different family dynamics.
Yeah, I bet.
Some good, some not so good. But it's quite interesting, actually, to watch that. Yeah.
What's your average size group that you see coming in? I'm sure it ranges, but
It does range. We're probably around 6 people per group. It's a nice, comfortable size.
Yeah.
We can actually handle up to 30 people at a time.
wow.
Awesome.
When we do the larger groups, we actually divide them up into teams. So we do a team versus team type scenario.
Get a little bit of a competitive environment going.
It does. It's, friendly rivalry. So they play at the same time, and they're in the same room, so they can see what each team is working on. But the way it's set up, they can't actually cheat off the opposite team and that kind of thing. So yeah, we do up to 3 teams at a time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I've seen it myself. It's really impressive. I can definitely see how you could definitely get a real competitive vibe going on there, because you've set it up for different teams. And you can't cheat off each other. You've devised it in a really smart way where it really is competitive, and you can still have fun with each other.
Occasionally you'll see some sabotaging going on, but,
Yeah.
But the cheating, not too much. No.
So can you give us an idea of what it's like in the room?
So our room is country themed, so that's the whole premise around it is country. We're larger than most escape rooms, so we
Yeah.
have 2,000 square feet. That's one of the reasons why we can do the number of people that we can. So it's quite spacious. Ours is lit both natural light and artificial light, so it's not dark. There's crevices and that type of thing. And it takes place in an old 150-year-old barn.
That's awesome.
So that's part of the theme that goes along with it. So you got the natural old stone foundations and the big beams that are hand-hewed and that kind of stuff.
That's awesome, because we see so many of these old barns getting just affected by time. But it's nice to see that you've got one still going and you're making good use of it, and unique use of it too.
Mm-hmm.
It gives an opportunity for everyone to kind of come see it as well, and a fun time to do. And it also fits our community. Like our somewhat rural community. And like you said, it's bigger than most escape rooms. Like when you go to the city, they're varying sizes, but they're usually not that big. And they're usually in old warehouses or like retail units or something like that, where yours is more authentic, I'd say. Like I would say a lot more authentic, and it fits the theme. It's I would say it's a lot more immersive in the environment.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, with that, I'm sure you can get some pretty interesting stories while you're locked in there as well.
Yeah. Well, we have a narrative that goes along with it that we just kind of jump right in at the beginning of the game, and
Awesome.
then we go from there.
So what would you say sets you apart from the competition? I mean, I mentioned some of it there, and you mentioned some already, but would you, like, if you were just to sum it up?
So yeah, definitely, like I said, our size is probably one of our biggest thing. And the fact that we are in a natural location as opposed to a warehouse that's been renovated,
Yeah.
to look like some other venue of some sort. So those are two. And we have 3 different difficulty levels that people can play.
Nice.
So within that one room, like if you played one game and you thought, okay, I really enjoyed that, I'd like to come back, you can actually play another difficulty level. The puzzles would be different. It's just, it's a completely different game with a little more difficulty, and then you can move up to another level. And we're actually working on a 4th level over the winter time.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so come April 1st, when we reopen, we'll have 4 levels to play.
Okay. We should also clarify that, too. You run from April to October 31st?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah, April 1st to October 31st.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that's clear.
Because it takes place in an old barn, it's just not feasible to heat
A little
during the
chilly in the
winter.
winter.
Yeah.
It gets a little chilly, and even if the players are fine with it, I'm still there, so it's a
Yeah.
little chilly for me too.
Yeah.
I just wanted to touch on having multiple different games within there as well. I mean, I think that's a great idea too, because if you have a certain group of people that really enjoyed that and they want to come back and bring their friends, they're not playing that same game over, right? So they have to start from scratch like everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, too. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've had a number of people do that. They might come with, say, their family, and then they bring their coworkers the next time, and they're playing again because, again, they haven't played, that other game and stuff.
I would say something else that also separates you from the competition is that, like, you really do make the puzzles yourself. You put a lot of thought and effort and work, because I mean, like, you're building a lot of stuff out of the wood. It's really thoughtful versus some places that would just maybe purchase something from a catalog or go to a store and maybe make some things from just various materials they get from a store. But I mean, like, you really put some real thought in it, keep it genuine to the experience.
Yes.
It's really impressive.
Well, thank you.
And I mean, I would say that is something that also sets you apart from the competition. I mean, I think you've done a couple of escape rooms yourself outside of like your own.
Yeah, so how this actually all started is for my birthday, my wife took me to an escape room in Kingston in Sir John A. Macdonald's house.
Cool.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was quite interesting. And of course, there's certain things in there you can't touch because it's more
Yeah,
of like a
you would
museum
think.
type setting, right? But that was a lot of fun. And I think she thought we should do that because, I like doing this kind of stuff, puzzles and, mental challenges and that kind of stuff. But we had a lot of fun. And on the drive back, we basically thought, hey, you know what? We can do this with the barn. We're not using it for anything at that point. The animals were already gone, as I had mentioned. So we basically came up with the whole premise and some of the basic foundation of how it's going to work in that drive back, and then it took the next 6 months to figure out how to really fine tune it and build everything and come up with all the little props and all that kind of stuff that are there.
Well, it would require a ton of thought. I mean, yeah, completely understandable.
Yeah, you want to make sure you have everything thought through, right? So your story makes sense, and
Exactly.
yeah, I can imagine that would take a lot of thought put in there.
Oh yeah, I basically just slept and then there was escape rooms while I was awake, and yeah.
That sound indicates a commercial break. We're new, so we'll just take this time to let you know what Dufferin Spotlight actually does. Each week, we will be releasing a new episode of our show, Dufferin Spotlight on Business, which will feature a discussion with business leaders from around Dufferin County regarding their businesses and accomplishments. The achievements of small business leaders largely go unnoticed, but it is our goal to highlight and recognize them, as these are the people who keep small communities like ours alive. In addition to bringing more attention to the businesses in Dufferin, we will share the advantages of shopping local, so be sure to check back each week to see the amazing things people are doing through their businesses. To find out more about what we do, and to stay updated on the other shows we will be producing, be sure to check us out at dufferinspotlight.ca. I also wanted to highlight something else that might separate you from the competition as well. Is in addition to the different difficulty levels that you have, you also do a night experience as well.
Yeah, so after dark, and of course that depends on the time of year of when dark happens.
Yeah.
But after dark, we have an option where we can turn off the lights, and people would be using just flashlights in order to see their way around.
Awesome.
So we actually call that our lantern lit version. And it gives a whole different feel to the room.
100%.
Yeah, so we've had a few people do that. We usually try to do groups a bit smaller, so we wouldn't do 30 people with flashlights. That would be bumping into each other a little too much, I think. But, a group of 4 or 6 or 8 or something like that
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
would be perfect for that. Yeah, it's quite different when they're going around with the flashlights. You're more like a sleuth in that kind of scenario.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. I mean, that'd be a whole different experience.
Especially when you don't know the environment that you're walking into.
Yeah.
because the lights go off and the flashlights go on before you go into the room. So you're just basically walking into this 2,000 foot area.
Trying to find your way around,
Yeah.
looking for something that you're not sure what you're looking for. And
You have no idea what's going on. Awesome.
Well, confusion at the beginning of the game is quite normal.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, I don't know what to do and stuff. And for the first 10 minutes or so of the game, that happens to almost everybody that hasn't played an escape room before.
Yeah.
But once they start looking around and then they start figuring out a little piece here and a little piece there, and then they start getting into the flow of it, and then it really moves along.
That's awesome. There's not too many experiences now, like where you get to go out as a team with a bunch of different people and actually use your heads. Like it's more going out to the patio and having a couple of drinks. So I mean, no, this would be a great opportunity. That'd be real fun too, especially when you have no idea what's going on. Because I mean, it's different for people, like especially when you walk into a completely new environment, like you said, and what do I do here? Especially when you've never done an escape room before. I mean, it sounds funny, but I mean, it's completely understandable. But I mean, it'd be great for everybody.
so I know you touched on that you're coming out with a fourth game right now. With that, are you working on any other major projects right now you'd like to talk about?
We are in the very early stages of something that's not really the escape room itself. I don't want to get into it at
that's
this
fine.
point because
Yeah.
it's such early stages, but yeah, we are.
But you got stuff in the works.
Oh yeah, we're always thinking and
Yeah.
developing stuff, and even with the existing escape room itself, we're always making like little changes and stuff, and not necessarily because something doesn't work, but it's just we just want to change and
Yeah.
we come up with something new and hey, well, let's do this.
Keeps it interesting for you.
It
Yeah,
does.
and that's what I was going to say. I'm sure it keeps it interesting for you guys as well doing it, right? Because, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if it's always new for you, you get to see new things, be part of new things, see different expressions. And
Yeah.
Test things out. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I mean, different groups have different responses to different things, right? Like, okay, maybe it's more for groups with kids. Okay, maybe I'll recommend this difficulty level. And then again, just throwing in new puzzles and see what people like.
Yep.
That'd be great. That'd be cool to see.
Probably the best part of running this is seeing the different groups and how they react to different things and stuff.
Yeah, well, you get to see people actually using their head. And I mean, nobody's the same, right? And you get to see everyone take a different path. It's nice to see that. Again, like, you don't get to see too many people these days actually use their heads and have fun doing it.
Exactly.
That's great. That's great.
And even though this is our third year that we have had it open,
Yeah.
and even still, there's every now and then there's somebody that comes up with a way of solving something
Yeah?
that we're like, oh, okay, that's a different approach. It worked. Wasn't really the way we thought it would be working, but it works. Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what age range do you cater to?
So the room was designed for about 14 years old and up. Had people anywhere from age 6 to 80. So when you get like the younger children, like I say, 6, 7, so forth, as long as there's some adults in there as well, there is stuff the younger children can do, but
Yeah.
there's certain references and puzzles and stuff that they would not be able to solve on their own.
Yeah.
So having adults in there certainly helps. And then, like I said, all the way up to about mid-80s who have just thoroughly enjoyed it, come afterwards and said, oh my God, that was so amazing and stuff.
Especially being on the farm as well. I mean, that'd be great for a lot of these people in our community.
Oh, absolutely. Basically, it's just nice, especially when a family comes out and it's just, you got the different skill sets of everyone within that family.
Yeah. I think you told me that you also allow pets sometimes too.
We do. So mainly dogs is,
Yeah,
is
yeah, dogs.
what we're intending on. Because the room is enclosed, the dogs can roam freely and they can go in different corners and stuff. They usually, when they get in there, they're just all over the place and stuff. And the props and everything in the room are fairly robust.
Yeah.
So they're not going to break anything. But yeah, we love animals. And
that's perfect. It
yeah.
really gives, the whole family a chance to get out together. And yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, from what it sounds like, you've had all different kinds of groups. I mean, you've had families, corporate outings. I think you're even telling me about how you had some military guys come up from baseboarding.
Yes, we did. So they came down, and these guys had all done multiple escape rooms before. And because that's kind of what they train for, right, in the military, is go into an environment and assess what's going on and figure things out and, complete the mission, right?
Yeah.
So I was a little nervous when they wanted to book it, that we wouldn't be difficult enough for them. Now, they did choose the most difficult level that we have, so that's a good start. But as it turns out, they were actually a minute over the allotted time. So we thought, okay, well, that's about right. That's about where we want it. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, they had lots of fun.
That would have been exciting to watch too.
As soon as they came through the door, it's like as soon as the game started, it looked just like a military exercise. They were just bang, 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 like shouting things out and just...
Yeah, like you said, you must have been nervous too, because I mean, that they've been trained to like how to search an area. They've been trained for all this, right?
Oh,
to be
yeah.
outside of their comfort zone. To
think outside the box and
Exactly.
be observant as...
So I mean, that says something about yours. If they were a minute over the allotted time, I mean, that says that your difficult one's probably difficult enough.
Well, even what we call the easy level, even that is fairly challenging as well. But there is ways that people can get help, hints, as you will, within the game itself, so they can kind of earn that kind of thing.
Awesome. I was also going to say something else that separates you from the competition is that you plant a tree for every successful escapee.
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah?
So the site that we're on is actually a 50-acre farm. So we have lots of land, and with each spring we plant the seedlings for the number of successful people that escaped.
Nice.
Yeah, so we got a few going out there now. There's some of the first ones are starting to get up above the grass level.
Nice. So yeah, and then you'll be able to look and see that's the one. That's me. I escaped.
That's my tree over there.
Yeah, you can escape and help the environment at the same time.
Exactly, which is awesome.
Yeah, I can't see too many other escape rooms doing that. So
How would they have the opportunity, especially when they're in the city, right?
thank you very much for doing that.
Yeah. Hey, it's Josh with another commercial break. Still no real ads, but I just thought I'd let you know that I don't know my passwords. That stops me from writing them down, sharing them, or worst of all, reusing the same password for my banking, email, and on that weird website that I'll never return to that will most likely be breached next month. This keeps me secure while making my life more convenient. To figure out how you can do the same, be sure to check out the articles on our website, dufferinspotlight.ca. Now back to the show, Dufferin Spotlight on Business. Would you like to mention any family or friends?
My wife, Jackie.
Yeah.
It was the inspiration for all this, as I mentioned earlier.
Oh, nice.
And she also helped me develop a lot of the puzzles themselves and come up with some of the ideas and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Great. That's good. She's helped run it a couple times as well, I think.
So she has a full-time job as well.
Yeah.
But when she can, then she comes out and helps us as well.
It's good. Support's awesome, especially when she helped you get the idea and help create the puzzle. That's really great.
Well, that's one thing that we see always helps people a lot is when they have support from their family and friends. It's amazing how it started from start to now as well. I mean,
from a gift, from a gift that she gave you, and then
and she's been very, very supportive. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So I know that you've mentioned your wife. Did you have any other partners starting up?
No, it's pretty much been a one-man show at this point.
Nice.
It does allow me to maintain the quality of the game experience.
Yeah.
And I know that like as businesses grow, they reach a point where they gotta hire employees and just let some of the employees do some of the work. But I'm not really at that point yet. I don't really want to let it go at this point. To be
Sounds
honest
like
with
quality matters.
Well, and I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just fun for me as well.
Yeah, if you're still having fun doing it, I mean, you should continue to do it if you're enjoying it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's a loss to you, right? Like, never mind, you also have to pay somebody to run it, but it's also a loss to you that you're not having that fun anymore.
Yeah.
And why get rid of that if you can keep it? Did you have any major investors, or was credit or financing available to you? Or were you able to self-finance? Or?
There was no financial investors. It was more of an investment of time and
Yeah.
creativity than anything else, really.
Yeah, no doubt.
Because I had already owned property, and the barn was just sitting there and that kind of stuff. And so the props themselves, yes, I mean, there's a little bit of money for that, but nothing that I really needed financing for.
That's great.
Yeah.
As long as you're creative
Exactly.
with what you do, then, you don't need to spend, lots and lots of money to have fun.
Yeah, because some people would have went ridiculous with it, but you're right. Like, when you're creative and resourceful and you have the skills that you do, and even if you don't, you can always get help. But I mean, you have the skills where you're able to go out and like actually build really cool puzzles that people will enjoy, that actually do use your mind and that are unique. It's really cool. So, I mean, that definitely makes sense. That's really awesome.
Well, so you look at a barn that at one point you used for farm animals and you completely changed it into something else, right?
Well, and that's kind of me. I mean, I've often been accused of being a MacGyver kind of person.
Would you like to mention any major customers?
Well, that would have to be my wife's family,
Yeah?
which was our very first ones.
Cool.
So after building the room, and we thought, okay, we think everything is going to work and stuff, but we want to try it out on some guinea pigs.
Yeah.
So we had a family barbecue, and her family came, and we just kind of made a day of it, having a barbecue outside, and we bring them in groups and just kind of run the escape room as an entertainment thing on that day. And there really wasn't too many changes that we made from that because we'd put a lot of thought into everything beforehand. But there was a couple little things here and there that we thought, okay, well, let's change this. Let's just tweak that.
Cool. I got to ask, like, do you do that quite often with family get-togethers now, like, since you have it, or was that just a one-time thing?
They've come out to the farm
Yeah.
a number of times. And so there's different things that we've done there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
They must have had a great time then,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
especially if you haven't changed much since then. I know you said you change little bits and pieces all the time. You're always working on stuff. But I mean, it shows how much thought you put into that original plan.
Actually, we hadn't told them when they came out that this was going to be a business venture. It was just something that, I put together, right? Which they know me, and that's not unusual for me to kind of do that type of thing.
Awesome.
And after they played, they all said, oh, you know what, you should do a business out of this. You should do a business out of this. I was like, well, that was kind of the whole idea.
I've been thinking about that a little.
Hey, it's Josh again with another commercial break. On top of that, knowing my passwords, I also don't pay for antivirus programs like Norton, Kaspersky, or McAfee. Despite this, I feel safer than if I did have them. To see why, check out the articles on our website, dufferinspotlight.ca. Now back to our show, Dufferin Spotlight on Business. So what was your biggest challenge in starting this business?
Just thinking of the ideas for the puzzles themselves.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part.
Yeah,
Because you
definitely.
need to have puzzles that not only work with the theme itself,
100%.
but logistically they have to work in other ways. Like they have to be easy to reset after the game before the next group comes in. We don't really want puzzles that have a lot of small little pieces that can go missing.
Yeah, you're in a bar and you have kids. Sometimes you have kids and pets and stuff like that. Yeah, no, 100%.
And even when you come up with an idea, then it's like, okay, well, how am I going to build this so that not only does it meet that criteria, but it's also robust enough to,
to be reused over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly like you said, when you have kids or the odd dog wandering around in there, that it's not going to get broken too easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, like really, it's not like you're just doing one of these. You're doing multiple. It would require a lot of thought. It's easy enough to come up with an idea, but actually implementing it, that's a whole... And I'm not even saying that this is an easy idea to do, but that's the easy part. And then actually making it sometimes can be daunting, but it seems like you've managed to do it.
Well, most puzzles never end up the way you originally think.
Oh, yeah?
When you originally come up with the idea, you're like, okay, well, this is how I want to do something. And as you start to develop it or source material for it or whatever, there's always these little changes that seems to happen. And then in the end, the product seems to be better than the original idea that you had.
That'd be really cool. I mean, just experiencing that, right? I mean, that requires some flexibility too, because I mean, there's some perfectionists that just would like, okay, no, I got to make this extremely to my vision, but no, you've managed to adapt. And I'm not saying that you compromised in any way, but just saying like you've managed to make a great game.
Well, I mean, and you can't always be too set on something until you've had it work either, right? Because I mean, your original thought, and then when you actually put it into the escape room, I mean, even if it's a small change, just to make it fit better, right? So, and if you wouldn't mind me asking you, do you have any advice for someone else starting their own business?
Well, it might sound in contrary to what we were just talking about, but I would say insist on your vision. So there's certainly compromises that you have to make at different points for yourself and your vision. But as you develop a business and you have an underlying vision as far as how that should look, I would say that insist on that, because there's going to be lots of people that tell you, oh, you can't do this because of this, or you can't do that because of that. And within legal parameters, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, just insist of whether it's be, quality of product or what it might be.
I think a good way to put it is like, don't compromise on that greater vision, right? You have to be flexible on how you get there sometimes. Because I mean, we have this ideal path, but the pathway is not always going to be how we think about it. We've talked about this in past episodes, and we've kind of more focused on that part. We have to be like, just jump into it and do it. But at the same time, when you have a vision, stick to that vision, because it does matter, and it's most likely why you got into it.
Exactly.
That's really good advice, because we really don't talk about that enough.
Well, yeah, and going with what Josh said, most of the time, it's not always going to go perfect either. You're going to have problems, you're going to have issues, and like you said as well, things that you're going to have to change, right? And, I mean, adapt and overcome. And
Exactly. But still stick to your end goal.
Exactly.
Do you have any plans for expansion?
We do have another idea for another type of escape room.
Yeah?
But we'd probably be looking at partnering with somebody for this other one, simply because I don't have the building structure for it on our farm. So it would need another farm type location with a certain type of structure in order to do it.
Wow.
But it wouldn't be country themed at all.
Cool.
It's, I don't want to get too much into it.
Yeah, but
But you give enough for people to,
follow your progress.
get them intrigued.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Make sure they follow your Facebook page at the very least to make sure they know what's going on. Awesome.
I think that's another important thing to have too. I mean, always planning for some expansion, right? Like, 'cause if you reach your top goal and then you sit there, I mean, you seem to be excited to keep doing new things. So I'm sure that's one of the things that keeps you into it, right?
Yeah.
So would you say that you've exceeded your original goals?
In terms of quality, yes. In terms of business volume, not as much. And I think that's mainly because the population here in Orangeville isn't quite what it is, say, down the GTA, for example.
Yeah.
So, you just don't have that volume of traffic that come out and do it. So we could do a lot more business than what we are doing currently.
Yeah.
But we get people that are just driving through, say, from the GTA, say, back up to Collingwood or something, and they stop and they've done it. A number of people have driven up from Brampton because they've done escape rooms down there and they're looking for another escape room.
Yeah, I bet.
So they come up and they do it. And we've often heard from people who've done multiple escape rooms before that, oh, this was the best one ever and that kind of stuff. And whether they're just telling me that because they want to be nice or not, I don't know. But
I can definitely see it, though. I mean, like, it's way more unique, I would say, especially for people that go to a lot of escape rooms and they live in the city, you're probably going to get a lot of repeat experiences. I'm not too familiar with the industry, but I imagine there is a catalog out there where you can get preset, like you can buy your puzzles and stuff like that. But yours is real authentic. You're putting it in yourself. It's unique and it's not boring for them, where I imagine there's been at least one time they've walked into an escape room and they've been disappointed. So, I mean, I could definitely believe that that's been their most favorite one.
I have heard a couple of stories from
Yeah.
some people about other escape rooms and stuff.
So we all have those suspicions, but I mean, I could actually believe that yours is the best. Just from what I've seen myself, I haven't experienced it, but from what I saw, it was pretty amazing. And one of my biggest regrets from the show right now is actually that I'm not going to be able to experience it firsthand with fresh eyes if I ever do experience it, like, because I don't want to ruin it for anybody else I go with. But I think everyone should get out there and try it, because I mean, it really is fun, and you'd be missing out really if you didn't. Hey everyone, this is our last commercial break. If you made it this far, thank you, and I have to assume you found this interesting. To keep up to date with new episodes, be sure to follow or subscribe to us on your preferred listening channel. We are available on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts, in addition to Facebook and YouTube. And of course, you can find all of our shows and more on our website, dufferinspotlight.ca. If we are not already on your preferred platform, be sure to let us know through our website, and we will do our best to get on it. We prioritize accessibility to our shows, so we will do our best to make it happen. That's it for commercials, and I hope you enjoy the rest of Dufferin Spotlight on Business. What would you consider to be your biggest challenge in the years ahead?
Well, I sometimes wonder if escape rooms right now are just a fad. So in a few years, will that pass, and people have kind of been there, done that kind of thing, and want to move on. But we talked before. I'm always thinking of ways of making things new and fresh, and come up with different ideas and that kind of thing.
And I really think that's one of the things that you really have going for your escape room, is that you think like that, right? You didn't do something and you're happy with it and done with it and just keep having people repeat.
Yeah, I'm done now. I'm just going to let it sit here.
Yeah, like
I know I'm making money.
Yeah, but I mean, when you keep changing something, because I do see your thing on it being a fad, but I mean, I could more see people getting bored of doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
Where, like Josh has said as well, yours comes off to me very different than a lot of the ones out there. It's unique. You actually have that barn structure on your property. And I mean, I think for a lot of people, especially like you said, commuting, coming through, stopping in, it'll be very different from what they're used to seeing.
Yeah. Even if it is a fad, I mean, it'll get rid of the guys that we were talking about that don't do anything. That's the good thing actually about fads, is it gets rid of the people that are just there. But I mean, like you said, I think you're doing the right things to have weather through that if that is an issue.
And if you don't mind me asking, Paul, what will happen after you leave the company? Do you have an exit strategy or succession plan in mind?
Well, if escape rooms are still popular, I could possibly sell the puzzles and the props to someone else. Obviously, the location I would still own.
Yeah.
But really, that's not in my plan.
Yeah.
Having put so much of my own personal effort into building all the things and that kind of stuff, I don't really know if it would really be worth it just psychologically to me to turn that over to somebody else for a few dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's something that could be hard on a lot of people, because there's a lot of great businesses that have been built from nothing, and then someone sells that business, and even though you're not part of it and you have some money, but you're watching your baby, what you built,
Yep.
and someone else just completely trash its name, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I do understand what you're saying.
No, that makes complete sense. Yeah. Yeah. So to finish off, what would be the best way for people to contact you?
Through email. So if they
Yeah.
go to our website, which is letmeout.ca,
Nice.
there's a contact form on that website, and they'll send me an email, and they can book for a time. When we are open from April to October, we're open basically from 9 a.m. till 9 p.m.,
Nice.
7 days a week.
Awesome. And then just to be clear as well, it's by appointment only, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Awesome. Makes sense. Great.
And all the bookings are private bookings, so you'd only be booked with you and your group that you bring.
Oh, awesome.
So some escape rooms, you go in and you might be paired with another group that's wanting to do the escape room at that time.
Yeah.
So you're basically playing the game with strangers, but we don't do that.
Nice. That's good.
Yeah, that's good to know that you're going in there for your group that you booked. And
Because that would discourage some people from going. It's like, oh, well, I don't want to be around those people. Okay, well, we're just going with our group.
Yeah, well, you want to have fun with your friend.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate the time you've taken to help with our show.
Well, thank you very much for having me today.
Appreciate it.
thank you once again. I mean, it was great having you on here and getting to learn about your escape room. And I wish you all the best in the future.
Thank you.
I'm sorry that I won't get to be as surprised as everybody else will when they go through it.
Well, you never know. We might have some.
If you're there when I'm there, you better keep your mouth shut.
We might still have some surprises for you.
Awesome. Well, again, everyone should get out there and try it. They'd really be missing out if they don't. I mean, we're lucky to have this in our community. Again, most people just expect these things to be in the city, and they're traveling a ridiculous amount of distance to go to one that's probably not as good. I mean, so it's best to stay local. It's not that far of a drive. It's about 10 minutes outside of Orangeville, and it's available for everyone to experience. All right, everybody, that's it for this episode of Dufferin Spotlight on Business, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you to Paul for taking the time to help us out with our show, and to those of you who listened. Be sure to check out letmeout.ca and follow their Facebook page to stay up to date on news and for details on how you can book your game when they open back up in April. Again, Let Me Out is located on Highway 10 in Camilla, just 10 minutes outside of Orangeville. If you would like to learn more about the businesses and people that make Dufferin what it is, please check back every Tuesday for new episodes. We can be found on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts, in addition to Facebook and YouTube, and our website, dufferinspotlight.ca. We're also now on iHeartRadio and Stitcher. If there's anywhere else you'd like to see us, please let us know through our website, and we'll do our best to get on it. Last week's episode was with the owner of Riveting Adventures, Amina Abdulaziz. She has set up a truly unique experience which allows for people to solve a mystery while exploring the stores in downtown Orangeville. It's something that the whole family can enjoy, so be sure to check it out. Anyways, until next time, get to know your community and shop local.